Good morning and welcome on your Friday. I'm Jacob Bresco, read us off this morning.
And I'm Samica. Meteorologist Elita Loresca starting us off with the forecast. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. Starting off this morning with a few light raindrops. A little bit of fog this morning down along Galveston Bay, but for the most part, we're waking up pretty much overcast conditions, but not the low ceiling of clouds. We're out ahead of our next cold front. We actually have a couple of cold fronts that'll be moving through here. This first one brings in the showers and thunderstorms. The second one right behind it is going to reinforce some cooler, drier air here, setting us up for a great weekend, especially if you're looking for some lower humidity and a nice cool down. Here's a look at temperatures. Currently it's 72 out ahead of that front here in Houston. Behind it, those temperatures have dropped into the 30s and 40s, running as much as 20 degrees colder behind the front. We are going to see a similar drop, potentially 10 to 15 degrees cooler as we get into the weekend. But it's warm, it's sticky, it's noticeably warmer, running a good 10 to 12 degrees warmer. A live look outside, and you can see we're overcast. There's the fog down in Galveston. But notice we've got a few raindrops popping up in and around Montgomery County. Let me show you 13 alert radar, because we are going to be monitoring for the possibility of some showers returning. They're very disorganized. They're widely scattered, and the majority of those rain showers, as they stream in from the Gulf, they're pushing northward. And right now, no thunder or lightning with this, but that's what we're going to be monitoring as the sun starts to come up for a few of these showers to eventually blossom into some heavier rain, and also the potential for some strong and even severe thunderstorms. I think we'll see a few hours where the opportunity for these thunderstorms to blossom will be with us at least through early afternoon. I've paused the clock at 12 o'clock. And you can see it's still very active out there. The cold front will begin moving into our viewing area this afternoon and evening. So by 5, 6 o'clock or so, the majority of that rain should be pushing out of here, but you can still see a little bit of activity. So the coverage is going to be less for the evening commute. We are going to see those rain chances peak, though, during the daytime hours or morning hours. There is a slight risk for some severe weather, but right now the Storm Prediction Center has excluded Harris County. Mainly north and northeast of our area is where we could see some of those stronger severe thunderstorms pop. And if we do see those strong and severe thunderstorms, the primary threats are going to be the damaging winds, hail, but also an isolated threat of a brief tornado. So here's those rain chances ramping up through the morning and then tapering off as we get into the evening hours. Temperature-wise, we should hold steady somewhere in the upper 70s to low 80s, but there will be a cool down on the way, and I'll have that part of the forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
On your Friday, thank you for joining us. I'm Jacob Bresco.
And I'm Samica. Happy Friday, everybody. Meteorologist Elita Loresca starting us off with the foggy, misty,
ugly,
drizzly, ugly. No.
Unfortunately, it's not the good stuff this morning, but we've got some great weather coming up here for the weekend. We just need to get through some of this mess here over the next 12 to 18 hours. Here's what we've got going on for you. Afternoon, your evening plans should be a go as that moisture moves out of here. Temperature-wise, we'll stay nice and warm into the upper 70s to low 80s. That cooler air lagging behind that front will be here for the weekend. I've got those numbers for you coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you.
Check that Samica will be doing exactly what she just said she would not do. Well, we got to grab the umbrella as we head out the door here with Elita Loresca in the Weather Center. How long will the rain stick around?
We've got a few hours where the rain could get heavy at times and then taper off really this afternoon into the evening, Jacob. So let's talk about that. Our next rainmaker, if you will, is actually churning here in the Four Corners region. That's generating a good amount of moisture to push in our direction. A couple of cold fronts will be rolling through. The first one is going to help warm and juice up the atmosphere, if you will, and trigger a few strong thunderstorms. The second front that moves through tonight, that is the one that's going to bring in the lower humidity, the drier, cooler conditions. But there is going to be a severe weather threat. That severe weather threat will be the highest the further east you go. But you can see we're along the southwestern fringes of that risk. A 5% chance and a 15% chance the further north and east you go for these thunderstorms to turn severe. And when we talk about severe weather parameters, all the severe threats are in the mix. So we've got some damaging winds, a possibility, some hail, some large hail, also the chance for a spin up, an isolated tornado. Not seeing that risk here locally across southeast Texas, but there are some strong thunderstorm alerts already starting to pop up west of the Austin area along this this line of heavy rain and thunderstorms that's going to be progressing eastward into our area. So this morning, expect more scattered activity, some showers, maybe even an isolated thunderstorm. Currently, we're not finding any sort of thunder or lightning associated with these scattered showers, but there will be pockets of some heavy rain moving across Montgomery County, northern parts of Harris County, and you can see that these showers could blossom into some heavier downpours, especially north of I-10. You'll see some lighter activity down along the coastline, but it seems like the atmosphere is a little bit more unstable, especially as you get north of the I-10 corridor. So by mid to late morning, things will remain active. We see those rain chances peak really over the next several hours and then slowly start to drop in coverage once we get past lunchtime. So it does look like Houston will be very active late morning, early afternoon, and then once we get closer toward the sun setting is when most of that moisture will be moving out of here. Here comes that front that's going to lower the humidity overnight into tomorrow. That frontal boundary will continue to push off the coastline sometime around 9, 10 o'clock or so. There'll still be some clouds, maybe even some lingering moisture behind it, but as the drier air lags behind it, it is going to help scour out those clouds just in time for the weekend. So rainfall totals, as I mentioned earlier, anywhere between 1/10 to maybe 1/2 inch will be most common, but there will be those isolated pockets of 1 to 2 inches. Out the door, you'll be welcomed by another round of fog, very, very patchy in nature, but definitely some overcast conditions. Meanwhile, you can see the low clouds this morning, mainly centered around Galveston. The winds not yet picking up, but they will be on the stronger side, especially by the evening. Check it out, our wind gust potential. We're talking 30 to 35 mile per hour winds around 8, 9 o'clock, and that'll be building into the Houston area come the weekend. Speaking of the weekend, we've got some cooler conditions this weekend. I think you're going to love it. Temperature readings, though, starting off warm this morning, and then this afternoon, somewhere in the upper 70s to low 80s. Looking for a 15 to 20-degree drop in temperatures as early as Saturday morning. We'll be back down into the 50s. Sunday will be our coolest morning with overnight lows in the mid-40s. Mid-40s as well Monday, and then looking ahead to next week, we start off dry early next week with the weather pattern turning wetter and more unsettled for that second half of spring break.
All right, Elita, thanks.
Right, it's about to be on for spring break.
Here we go.
What's that for?
It's like the, drum roll, please, for the spring break.
Got it. All right. Good morning. I'm Samica Knight.
I'm Jacob Bresco. Some of us love spring break. Well, just kidding. We all love it. Hey, Elita Loresca, how's the weather, though, heading into the weekend?
I'll tell you what, it's going to get better. Maybe not so great for the start of spring break, but, schools aren't out yet. They've got one more day to endure, and then officially this afternoon, once school lets out. So air doesn't arrive until later on tonight into tomorrow, so I'll have those details coming up in just a few minutes.
All right. Town, and Courtney, that child's mother, spoke to us.
Yeah, that's right, Samica. We're going to get to what she told us. A very different story than what we were initially told from investigators in just a minute. This story has become a lot of back and forth over what happened, and that's likely why we're going to hear from the sheriff today. Of course, details really matter, but at the center of it all is this grieving mother who lost her little boy, and she tells us that she begged authorities for help before her son was killed. So again, we're going to hear from the sheriff in a few hours. By the way, Rivera, who is charged with capital murder, is still on the run. For now, reporting live downtown, Courtney Fischer, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
So tragic. Courtney, on this Friday and the Friday before spring break, I'm Jacob Bresco.
And I'm Samica Knight. A little gloomy this Friday, but it's still Friday.
It is Friday, dreary and damp to start you. All right, turning to the weather, 13 alert radar showing some widely scattered showers this morning. So there will be some slick roads. Not going to be a complete washout for today, but there could be some strong and even severe thunderstorms. The chances for rain this morning at 60% should drop down to 20% by this evening. Cooler, breezy conditions behind this next cold front. And yes, we've got that time change to talk about. We'll have the latest forecast for you, not just this weekend, but also a look ahead of a bigger storm system that could impact your spring break plans coming up in the next half hour.
His mother sharing her pain with us and her frustration over the system.
But first, happy Friday and happy start of spring break. I'm Jacob Rescone.
Yeah, and I'm Samica Knight. You're right. Spring break almost here.
Yes.
All right, meteorologist Elita Loresca starting us off with the forecast, and it's kind of dreary, droopy, you know.
Droopy. Okay, that's the first time I've heard somebody.
Well, describe the weather droopy. Sorry.
Absolutely droopy outside.
Yes, I'm going to use it. Drizzly this morning as well. Here's a
Morning, and Courtney, that mom feels like the system failed her.
Yeah, Samica, that's exactly what she told us. And we have so many questions really about what happened, what led up to the shooting, what happened after the shooting. So the sheriff is going to address that today for the first time, talk about it. The mother of this 12-year-old boy, her son killed, she says that she begged authorities for help trying to keep her ex-boyfriend away from her and her family, but she says she just didn't get it. And today we really need to understand exactly what happened. Rivera has now been charged with capital murder, but again, he is still out there. For now, reporting live downtown, Courtney Fischer, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
We hope he is caught soon. Courtney, thank you.
But we aren't getting those $160,000 or $70,000 swag bags. So
No.
Let's just talk about weather.
Let's just move on to weather. We do have a threat for some showers, and parts of your area going to get a little damp this morning, and then those showers will be tapering off. Doing any traveling today, some of you getting an early start to your spring break travels. Traveling anywhere to the east and up toward the south, you are looking at the chance for some strong and severe thunderstorms. And these are thunderstorms that could be capable of not just some strong winds, but also some large hail and maybe even a brief spin up. A very low risk of any sort of tornadic activity, but it is there at 2%. You can see, well, a 5 to 15% chance that a few of these thunderstorms could not just be on the strong side, but also become severe. We're seeing some strong thunderstorms developing out toward the hill country. Now, we're anticipating that this line may weaken as it approaches some of our far northwest counties, already seeing that line weakening down toward San Antonio. But there's still some strong storms that could deliver some strong wind gusts. Out ahead of it, we've got some scattered rain showers. Our first clap of thunder just to the north and east of Navasota. You can see the activity continues to roll through most of the morning. We'll see that coverage increase and then drop off as we get into the afternoon and evening hours. When we anticipate the front is actually later on tonight. Should move off the coastline sometime around 9, 10 o'clock or so, followed by some cooler, drier conditions. We are still dealing with some fog. This morning, you can see that ceiling continuing to lower. Some of our inland areas closer to the coastline is where we're going to see the worst of it, especially Galveston Bay and Matagorda Bay. That's where we have a dense fog advisory through 9 o'clock this morning. Otherwise, get ready for another warm day out ahead of the front. Once the front moves through, we've got some cooler conditions blowing in. As early as tomorrow morning, that temperature drop will be noticeable, 10 to 15 degrees cooler, with highs mainly into the mid-60s. We'll warm up again the beginning of spring break as temperatures warm somewhere in the upper 70s to low 80s, and then rain chances building toward the latter half of the week.
I'm Courtney Fischer, live downtown Houston. In about 3 hours, the sheriff is going to talk with us about an update for the search for the killer, the person who shot a 12-year-old boy. What happened there? The mother says she thinks the system has failed her. For now, reporting live downtown, Courtney Fischer, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
Good morning.
See you on the 7 a.m. stream.